Well, hello everyone and welcome back. It has been a while. The last couple of weeks have been very busy. Last week. Today's Sunday, so I got back on Friday night. But I left for a week, went down to the Outer Banks, got some relaxing in, some crabbing and some fishing, and some nice checking out the whole area. The boardwalk up there was really nice, and went to see the Wright Brothers Museum, which was really cool. I actually got a couple of model kits. One's a Lego kit, and the other one's an actual a balsa wood with fabric for the wings. So that's what I've been up to, just taking a break. And yeah, last week was really nice and relaxing. I'll show you a quick thing on the kits. Here's the Lego kit. It's actually atomic bricks, mini bricks, which is really neat. I haven't opened it up yet, but that kind of shows you what's going on. And I think this would be nice to sit up on a shelf. They did a good job. Brought to you by the Smithsonian, because the original plane is actually a Smithsonian, but they have a full-size, full-scale replica of this plane there, which was really neat. And you get to see, where the plane actually lifted off and where it would land on different trials. It was really nice. Definitely, if you're down in, if you're over in the Outer Banks, in Kitty Hawk, or we stayed in, what's it called, Kill Devil's Hill, right next to Kitty Hawk and all that. It's beautiful there, especially at this time of year. It's a little less busy. And in here is the other kit, which I might do a build series on this, or at least an update on the build. Let's just say they're easy build model. But it has step-by-step photos, instructions online. Okay, that's cool. Does have like a cool little blueprint type thing. I'll do a separate video on this model. But that was really cool, and all the laser cut pieces out of the balsa wood. And then yeah, there's just all the strings and everything like that. And I don't know if you need a fabric. I'm not seeing a fabric. Or is it just a complete skeleton? I'm not sure. We will find out. But that'll be cool. I'll have to read in. I only just popped it open just to look. I have to do a parts inventory and all that. Here's a general instructions guide. Looks like you can even get the propellers to move, maybe use a little rubber bands. We'll see. Like I said, this is all new. I only just kind of popped up. I actually, was standing in line to purchase some stuff. Like, I have this shirt. If I can turn the camera around. I have the shirt and some stuff like that. I always get a few memorabilias while I'm there. And I saw the Lego, or the Atomics brick, mini bricks thing in a glass case. Ended up by the cashier. That's where they had the stocks of boxes. And then I was standing in line and I saw this one hanging up, which I thought I saw before, but then I looked at all the boxes and they were more the puzzles that you can put together for a picture. But then I looked again and I'm like, wait a minute, there it is. And so I'm glad I looked and picked that up, because that's going to be neat. So, back to where we are. I'm almost forgetting where I left off here. I think the last thing I really did was all our window holes are drilled on this kit, except for the saucers. I haven't gotten to the saucers yet. Was waiting on the new drill bits and stuff. There's got to be a lot of ream in those long windows. But on this kit, we have everything together. I even have the neck put together, which I might have showed you in an episode in part 2. But we got that glued together, so we can start working on this. But I had to do some light blocking, so I hit in here black, and then I hit it with a white. Same thing on this side, hit it with black and hit it white. The light's not bleeding through any of those areas again. And then the next thing I did is I was just messing around with the deflector dish, and I think I'm going to actually use all the photo etch except for the photo etch for the trenches here, because I already have this ship set up to be puttied, because I did my trench on this outer edge, where on the others, oh, she's hooked up. On this one, which is going to be the one that this is separated, and you just don't want to let go of wires, do you? There we go. Still got to router the trenches, but these I'll still use the photo etch trench part on there on this kit. You know, unless, I don't know, maybe if I pop one of these out and see if it, wrong sheet, see if they still cover correctly, and they might, but it's going to be hard to tell until I pop them off. But I don't think so. I think they're just going to ride that edge, so I'll leave them for those, because like I said, I went in that one seam and kept all that, you know, what this is, all those little ridges I kept on there, and you putty that up, and then with the decal and all the Aztecing, it'll be golden. But I think I'm going to use all the photo etch. I'm like, why not use all my good photo etch on the Boyd build? This one here, I'll just do all natural, because I might do some hits, you know, to make it look like it fought the Borg. All my Borg base pieces are printed. So this is going to be neat. All the Borg bases are printed. You can kind of tell how they go together by how the parts interlap. This isn't correct. Let's see if it's this one. Yep. And as you can see, I did some black. I started off with the white filament and then moved to the black. At first I just did it to save the white I have, but now I bought more rolls of white. But the other thing is it's going to give us, this is the first one I did with the black tops. The very first one I printed in all white, so I'll just hit, you know, the tops of these with black and maybe come down a little bit, and that way the whole piece, if I turn this up, the whole piece won't glow. But if you hold these up, it's going to give us that effect. So if I have some green lights and then maybe some pulsing green in certain other areas to get some animation under there, that'll look cool. That'll make that whole base glow green, that sickly green that the Borg has. So what I'll have to do here is I'll build, I'll design and 3D print a little base for this base to sit on that'll get it up a little higher, and that'll allow us to give us a cavity under here. Get this back in camera. That'll allow us to build a cavity under here. If I print, here's the outer walls. If I print some type of piece, I'll probably do just this side and this side, and print like 4 of those. And it doesn't have to be high. It's just got to be high enough to fit some strip LED or some LEDs, whatever I decide to do. Probably do mainly strip LED, and then do a couple maybe green bulbs that I can have flicker or pulse, create hot spots and some animation going on. And I also think I'm going to put the control boards under here, because I'm going to have, instead of using 4, I need 2 control boards per ship. Now with that ship separated, the saucer and the drive section, I would have to use 4 for that one model. But if I put the control boards down here, I can send feeds right up to both the saucer and the drive section from one control board, or from each control board. And also that'll keep my flashing lights in sync, even though they're separated. I don't know if that would really matter, but I would imagine so, since they flash together when the ship's a whole. They should still flash together when they're apart, so that'll kind of do that as well. But what are we doing? Oh, so that means this one's going to have the nice deflector dish. So I actually got the photo etch down on this clear part. It went down really easy, and I used my clear JB Weld resin epoxy, and it worked great. It dries clear, and it's a lot less messier than dealing with the, like super glue. And this one will leave this plastic completely clear. And this one's going to have that goldish copper on the ribs on the inside here, but then I'll leave, it looks like I can leave this whole oval clear, because this will cover that. Once that sits in there, that'll cover that, and then that whole back will glow blue. And then yeah, because we're using a white light back here, so I'll probably paint this whole back half that transparent blue, and then this side we'll do the copper. And that should work. You can even get a little peek of how it's going to look with this blue bulb, even though I'm not going to use an actual blue bulb. Because it just makes more sense to have a white light in here. That way I don't have to worry about any blue spill into these windows, especially right there. With that, because this will sit right in here, and you're going to have blue spill if we have a blue light going there. But let's see if we can see how this is kind of looking. It falls into its little notch. There it goes. So that's going to be cool. But it's probably going to be a strip light back there, just a little, I'll use a high density blue, white back there. And that should kind of be a good size, yeah. I can center the center one right in that center point and blast this whole area with light. I got those glued in for the lights. This one doesn't flash, this one stays on steady. This one's going to be a flasher. Got those in. So we're pretty much ready. I got to get a base color mixed up, because I'm going to kind of want it between the movie colored version and the TV version. I think the movie one's a little too dark. I think the TV one's too light, so we'll kind of hit somewhere in the center, so we still get that good popping of the Aztec, but not a extreme contrast like if you would put it on a lighter gray ship. But I guess we could start doing maybe getting the fiber optics in here so we can putty these closed. And again, I don't know if I want to use a red and a green actual LED, or Gary, for his, he just brought them up and colored the fiber optics and has them actually stealing light from the strips that he has light in the windows, which would work too. If you leave them, all the light is white in here, and you just color these, it'll pick up all those fiber optics will pick up all that light that's bouncing around on there. So that might be what we try. That way we save on light bulbs, less wiring, and less mess back here, because we got all these wires that I got to come up. And so yeah, we can even get the LED strips in here. This we actually do have to put a light there for the flash. So we'll have to block it so that you don't get you don't see the flashing through the windows. This is a steady on, so I might even just see if that just picks up enough light in and of itself. I think I might put a light there. That way it's brighter than the windows. So it's an actual exterior light instead of these just getting light from the rooms. So I think that would be best too. Well, okay, I put two high density white lights here, and then I ran with the regular LED strips back here. Gives me some length, but to hit all the lights back here, they're looped together. I'm going to put these fiber optics in. This one kind of has a curve down, so and what I want to do is get it just over that, so it sits over that LED light there. Like that. Probably should get some tape, and I already put epoxy down in the trenches we did. Well, I'll just leave it like that, and then I can heat it up and bend it the way I want. But probably should get a little piece of tape to help hold them down. Maybe I get this one here. I only need about that much. Put a little piece of tape there, just so as I'm working on other things I don't knock them around until they cure. So can I get this one to sit a little more like that? Would be awesome. There we go. I'm going to curve them so they're up a little bit, and then I can tack them down. Shove a little more green up in there, because I can always trim them. Got plenty of space to trim on either side. But we'll let that epoxy dry. Might trim some of this excess off. This red one was already it's already for something, it looks like, because I already mushroomed the end over. But there, and I don't know if that's kind of giving off some light already. You can see a little bit of it. But we'll still want to hit these ends once we get them down to the, setting down towards the light. Plus all the light bouncing in here as well. That's why I went with these pre-colored fiber optics. But the only thing is you know, once you cut them, if you cut both ends where they coated it'll just glow through clear. Like, see, let's see if this one's cut. Yeah, I cut that other end and see how it just glows clear anyway. But a lot of times if it gets a lot of light from the side going through this coating of color, it kind of helps it glow that color. But we'll still hit those ends with some green and red. Did a test, so our lights are working. There you can go, you can see them lighting. But I'm glad it's a little brighter here, because it would be once this goes down. You're going to have a lot of brightness here and here to start getting a little, I can have it a little dim because there's a little less windows back here. I have two LED strips here. That's probably all we're going to need for the downwards. Plus everything's going to bounce off the white as well. This one we do need to put a bulb in. I don't think that... Yeah, I think we better put a bulb there. So I don't think I'm going to get a lot of light here for that to glow. A little more like a sourcey light than an actual, you know, light coming from our room and, you know, coming to the windows. This is actually a light, so we kind of want that a little more sourcey. So we'll put a little SMD LED there. And this one's a flasher, so we can actually get those glued down. And then I would like to get the nacelles on and get the wires down in here. I was thinking about tagging the permanent power of the nacelles off the strip, but in case anything goes wrong with those strips, I don't want my engines to die because of that. So what we'll do is we'll get them down. Once we glue the nacelles down, we'll get them down, and then I'll run extensions. And of course these smaller wires for the flasher are going to have an extension, and then I will tie with this one because this is a flasher. But I still want to do some work on here yet. Get the photo etch pieces here. There's a photo etch piece there. And I think it's easier to sand and file these areas there when I can spin it around in my hand. Okay, the lights are working. And I got a good flash for this torpedo. But I was going to just leave it jumpered and on, but I think I'm going to put these torpedoes on a switch. That way they're not always flashing, because that's bright, which I do want it to be bright. Once I hit it with some red, hopefully that will dim it down. But our fiber optics are actually showing through pretty well. And I don't even have them really setting over their points. I just close the lid and just the light bouncing on. We do have to get a light up here, which I'm just going to use a 3mm cool white and shine it this way. And I think it will actually help shine these, light up these back 2 windows back here, which are still kind of, I don't know if I can turn it, still kind of a little on the dim side. So I think that'll help lighten this area up. But everything else looks good as far as lighting up, even on the bottom. Oh yeah. So we got to get that light in there. I think these I'm just going to stick red fiber optics in. And it should pick up the... It's so bright in there, it'll pick up that. You might see a little... Well, you can't from that angle. So... But right now they're not attached. I just have 2 separate power feeds going. Because we still got to do some work. So... And we'll start getting on these neck areas, but I gotta go hit some light blocking black on these guys first, and then hit them with a white, and then hopefully that'll dry quick enough that we can start doing the lights for in here. Now I know Gary on his, he kind of has, what he's doing is he gave you this little strip of styrene, so you can kind of, somewhere around here, glue that down and put a LED strip on the bottom to shine down for the neck, and an LED shining upwards to hit all this here. And you can kind of consider all those the same part as the neck. I don't know how much I'm liking that idea. That might be fine. Because I was thinking maybe doing that, running a piece of styrene, then doing my LED strip this way instead of it this way. I'm a little weary about it giving a real bright light on these areas instead of it kind of going up the center here. And then what I could do with this, if I do it that way, is you can see where these row of lights here will actually be right about in here. So then I could just put this strip right there and have it pointing up. But it might not be too bad. Now that I see how bright, like even in here, and some light's going to bounce up, I think I might be okay just doing one right across there. And if we, like I said, if we do, we might want to get it out here a little more. That's about... Yeah, you're going to want to be right about in here. So I might just do that because I think that'll be fine. So I need to go paint these black. Probably before I do that, I'll show you what I did with the photo etch. There is a photo etch piece there. We can unhook all this. Yeah, see right now I just have it tied into there, and that's what I was going to do, but I think having that constantly go is going to act like a marker, you know, like some type of nav light. So I don't think I want them that one and the one on this forward section. So I already have a hole. I glue these pieces together first, and then I drill a hole, but I'm going to have to make it a little wider for this chip to fit kind of flush, and that's what I did there. And then I just epoxied the photo etch right over top. Then when we go to paint this, I'll just drop some of that liquid mask in there, which is just a vinyl, liquid vinyl. And then paint it, and then I'll poke that out, and then I'll hit that with a little red, and then I'll mix up some, I think I'm going to just mix up some of my printer resin, clear, and add a little red in it. And dab it on there. But I'm glad that it's bright. Instead of running a fiber optic, which I was thinking about, like having a light in here and just running a fiber optic out here. I think it's going to be nicer. It's bright, so it's like a pew, more of a sourcey. But we have to here make that wide enough for that chip to go in. But this is fairly simple. Boom, boom. It loops around. And then from here, we're going to jump up to the top section. These leads here are to go up into and catch these LEDs. Which I probably did more wire than I need, yeah. Let's get, before we send these out, and then hit this with some black. Here we go. So I went with a quite bigger bit just to sink that chip in, and you can, and it'll use that. Oh, this is a sharp bit. It'll use that other hole as a center. And now I gotta. The only bad thing about this thing is it already has resistors on it. It's gotten hot enough that we can unsolder this wire. There we go. And hopefully this will fit in there. We're going to be missing some of that part, so we got to do all that first before we put this, glue this guy in there. And this is just a white flashing LED. Might want to go with a little bigger size bit. And that's all I probably have to do, because this chip is very thin. But I want to leave a little bit of back so I can pull tight and it doesn't pop through. That's why I drill a hole for the wires, and then I just widen one end. That's perfect. There it goes. It'll sit in there better, stay centered better. And then with the photo etch in there, and then we fill that all up with the clear resin or colored red resin. And we'll have a torpedo there. And I think it's smart to put those on a switch. Otherwise, those are going to look like something flashing all the time, like a nav light. We got these light blocked. I didn't look through, but it wasn't. This is pretty thick plastic, so it doesn't need a whole lot of light block. Nope, that looks good. And then hit it with some white so it will reflect. I used that styrene strip that Gary gave us and put a LED strip on this side and another one on the underside, and then loop them together. And right now I'm gonna tin these other contact points here. The solder I have is so thick, it's a little too thick for doing these electronics. And it doesn't want to stick to the solder gun, so I usually just cut little pieces if you get that situation happening. I gotta order some really thin solder. This is like really too thick. But I found that if I just cut little pieces and just put them on there, and then they melt just fine. Yeah, so that's going to be where these leads here will go to. And that means the whole lower hull and the neck will come on at the same time. I hit a little tulip around this one, because this is going to be the flasher, and we don't want to see it through the windows. And just in case, I put a little black back there so this light, and glued this down. I hit it with a clear epoxy. And this one stays on constant, so I can have it blast back here a little bit and hopefully help out these windows back here. And I can remove that tape because I was just keeping that out of the way. And we'll have to desolder that because these are going to, like I said, I'm going to put these on a switch. Yeah, so this is still kind of gluing. It's starting to get stronger now. I should wrap a little tape or glue to make sure this LED strip doesn't lift up. I wonder if I can, while that's curing, I need to cut, looks like I need to cut that part and those parts. And I'm hoping it'll let some light through on those little dots on the photo etch. Is it on this sheet? Yeah. I should almost get that off so I can see what it looks like. Shouldn't be doing on this cutting mat because photo etch can usually bend. But we got to get 2 portals there. And then what happens, I guess it goes like this. We can get the LED in there too. Let's see how it lays across this. Yeah, so we can cut. The ports don't line up quite right. But if I get rid of, get a little pencil. So it'd be neat if those little dots shine through. And that we'll totally get rid of because we got to bend those little things in. And I guess they get a little bit of light. So we'll have to put the cutting wheel back on. But while we're waiting for all that, gotta look to see what's... That's the outside. This is the inside because it has the... When they want you to bend a piece, they'll actually make the seam, you know, it's almost like they dig a trench, you know, that way it can fold a little bit, it has room to fold. I don't know if it'd be better just to do that or use my photo etch bender. I think I'd rather get this going through first. I might want to get this glued down. Try to get this to sit square. It's hard because the way the SMD chips are soldered, the wires come actually to the edges. That's where the contact points are. So the wire, in order to get the to sit flush, the chip, say this is the chip, the wires are soldered here and here, and they got to kind of go like this, and then and kind of like, I don't know if you're going to be able to see it on camera, but it's got to do that. So we got to mix up another little batch of epoxy, just a dab. That's kind of the nice thing is because I can make as much as I need. Alright, and nothing to it but stick some of this in there. Just fill that hole up and then pull this back. Shove her in there and try to get her square. If we can. Not going to matter too much because once it turns on, it's just going to be a big, bright light. Because we got to make sure that's nice and flat. Otherwise, the photo etch won't want to sit in there good. Kind of seeing a little bit of a bump raised part right in that corner. There we go. Should be able to do a test to make sure it's working. Always test. Test, test, test. There we go. And once we put the photo etch on there, that'll get it more focused to a round part. Try to do this without. Yeah, once we put that on there, I'll light block it and then we'll just fill it in with some clear either window maker or I think I'm going to try. I'll go and color the LED itself and see how that looks. If not, I'm going to mix up a little bit of a clear resin and I'll add a little bit of transparent red to that, and then we'll fill in all the space around it, and hopefully the whole thing will glow. And then with the photo etch there, that'll block it, and then we'll make sure anywhere it tries to leak around the photo etch, because it is quite a thin edge here. This size probably won't be the problem in the top, but and we can always hit it with some black. And of course we'll light block it with we'll light block it with some black paint if we have to. Now, I just did something I wonder wasn't probably a very good idea. Because I wanted to really get those notches out for that window vane. Or for those things there they got to fold in. Let's see if we can get this glue together. That means we got to clean any paint off of areas that are going to actually glue. No, I need to wait to, that's right, I need to wait to notch those out for the photo etch. So yeah, we're going to leave it at this for tonight and let all this cure. Okay, I went and notched these areas out for the photo etch. Here and here, and I actually did it without cutting into that wire that we've drilled through. Let's do a test to make sure though. Let's see, black here. Yep. We're still good. That's excellent. Let's see if this all lines up correctly. And then we can get this glued on. Yeah, that'll work. Yep. Alright, let's try bending this with the bend tool. Not sure what angle it needs to be at. Oh, this side gonna be interesting. Let's see if we can get it to bend just this piece. There we go. This little bend tool is like such a good thing that I got, and it was really inexpensive. Sit there so that plastic chunks everywhere. Alright, let's do a test fit. It's gonna, I think, be like that. And then we'll just hand curve it around the curve of the front end. Yeah. It's gonna work nice. Oh yeah. So it says we gotta bend. I'll probably do it with a pair of these. Oh, need the paperwork, not the sheet. Let's see what it says. Yeah, so those just gotta get louvered in. It should be fun as well. Yeah, definitely, if you get this, try bending those in first. Which I was wondering if I should do. This way I can focus, get down here and focus on just bending those tabs. Not so easy. Do I have? I should have some small screwdrivers in here. Yeah, that one's probably too small. A little bit wider. That might work. Right. Oh, just a hair too big. What's the next size? That one's really small. And the other two are Phillips. You might have to do the trick. There it goes. This next one, it's really gonna, or the next two, they're really gonna scare me because they're just pivoting on a little point. Oh. That worked. They might be opened a little more than I think they should be. Which I can always come back here. I kind of like that. Now let's see if we can do the other side just as well, and we can actually try gluing it. And then we gotta make them even. I think I did the same thing there, as I made them a little bit too extreme. There we go. We'll definitely want to hit some color in there because you can see a little bit in there. Well, okay. Sorry about that. I started rolling, started going and forgot to roll camera. But it was just gluing that piece on there. Nothing big. But it formed to that pretty well. So I am happy with that. But next, on the next one, I'm definitely going to push those fins first and then bend those two bends. And then I think the best thing to do is just slide it on and then just press. And it gives you the rest of the shape. But I got that super glued, so we'll let that dry. Shouldn't take too long. This should be good and cured now. Oh yeah, that got a lot more stable. I was getting a little worried about that because it was wiggling still a little bit. So, I can get this red out of the way because you are not going to reside there anymore. We need to get this resistor on first. See if I can get it to twist around it. Should have probably soldered the resistor on first before epoxying this down. I get one or two wraps around it. That'll make me happy yet. Sometimes easier with the tweezers. Go. You don't need all that either. Either a twister or even a good hook. Should probably get some shrink tube on here too. Let's do that first. I think no, I do have the smaller stuff here. Same. With the red. I can actually slide this way. I'll make that look cleaner. And didn't we cut a little? I thought I cut a piece. Maybe I didn't. Let's try to get a little tinning on this. There we go. Now I guess we should check that. There we go. That light is working good as well. There we go. I might be able to get it to pull with tape. Just run tape around. But what we got to check for is where do we have paint. And there's paint in this edge. So we need to clean this up. Because this is going to be a definite point of some weight on it. This is the sausage is going to be all up here, and all that weight going to be like that. We don't want it to pop off. But we also got to be careful not to remove too much. Some of that black paint is stopping anything from glowing. So I'll mark where I really want it clear, cleaned off. There we go. Yeah, definitely want to have this clean. Because it's holding on, like I said, all that weight. It's got to be, yeah, it's getting caked up. It's like it's not removing anything here. So what I'm going to use is the heavy glue. Right on these joints here, boom. And touch them there. Tell it's becoming fall. My allergies are getting crazy. This, to me, a glue with the brush is awesome. If you really got a heavy saucer like the big 350 Enterprises, I use in points like this where it's structural. I'd still use that old Tester's tube glue. It's nothing still beats it. It's still relevant. It's hard to do this and see what we're doing. More like that. I am way off. There we go. Yeah, that's not looking too bad at all. And then I can use the thin glues to use a stronger tape. I can use the thin glues to fill in from the outside. See if we can actually, or should I clamp it? I don't know if I got any real area to clamp. Straight up, there's going to be a tape and pull here. Well, we can just get both sides held. The key is, can I get enough strength to pull that over? Oh yeah. Everybody looks square. You could come down more on this side. We're going to have to get a little more pull on you. There we go. Well, let's see if we can get. That helped, unless it pulled this other side out. No, that looks good. That's one nice thing about these quick sets is you can. Sometimes get it loaded up with some glue and then press and hold and they'll set up quicker than normal glue, and it'll hold them together, and yeah, it is working fine. Alright, we gotta fix. I gotta refill that. I don't know if anybody has ever heard or I mentioned it before, but if you want some of Tamiya's extra thin cement, it's only their airbrush cleaner. It's the same stuff. This might be a little bit different because it even has a different smell. They might add something a little different to the extra thin, the quick set. But if you just, their all-purpose wonderful, extra thin cement is their airbrush cleaner. It smells a hair different. It's because all they did is not much though. All they did is switch the ingredients. It contains biethyl acetate and acetones. I'm not sure which one, but one of them has 49. Let's just say this here, the airbrush cleaner, is, since they put the acetate first, usually that's the highest. So let's say it's 51 acetate, but then it'll be 49% acetone. On this, let's see if they do have it backwards. They do. The acetone is listed first. Usually, like in your ingredients, like even for foods, what's at the top is the most. So here they have the acetone, so it's probably 51 acetone and 49 acetate. That's the only difference. For them to actually be able to label it as something completely different, they have to have a difference in in percentage, and they just made a 1% difference. Either way, where here you'll spend, let's say this is $8 for that, you'll spend $8 just for this little bottle, or 5 to 6, 7, 8, whatever it is anymore. But that was a cool little thing I saw someone had up on YouTube, and I'm like, really? And yes, it is. For polystyrene, all you need is some, an acetone acetate. That's in itself, it's just melting the plastic. It's not like really leaving anything there to glue, like a super glue does. It's just a melting thing. So anything you can glue, you can use anything to glue your styrene kits as long as it melts it. But there we go. Hey. I keep pressing just to make sure everything's going to hold down nice and tight. But I think we're good. Well, let's let that set. But what we can do is, what's this? This is for the torpedo. What we can do is we can actually connect this stuff. We'll bring the positive up and around like that. Leave a little slack, but I could probably use some of this wire for a jumper. There it is. Go. I can spin those into the center so they're not popping right up on the windows. There we go. Everybody's lighting. Beautiful. So, it's coming along nice. I did a little temporary, just put it together to see how things are glowing. And I'm liking it. You can even see that these are glowing well. Once we cut those, that should work great. And I didn't even do any real modifying to the insides of it, but I think it'll get even better once I cut them and mushroom those little ends as well. We're getting good lighting up in here, even in the little tiny holes. the neck, it's coming out really nice. Everything's lighting up way back in here. The little, let me get a pointer here. Little portholes next to the docks are actually lighting up good. We're getting light into those little fin areas. I might have these a little more extremely than they probably should be, but this is kind of my own little ship that we're doing for Boyd, so I like it like that. We just got to fix that little light leaks down here, and we got a little bit up there, and that might this piece of photo etch might be up a little bit. And it's not the same. It's a little bit like that on the other side, so it's not too bad. And this part, oops, spinning off here. And this I just have sitting on there. I think. There it goes. But yeah, couldn't be happier. And just doing that works fine for the neck. Doing that little strip like that, and it gives you, lining it up here gives you enough. And we had plenty coming out with everything bouncing around in there. Get you a little closer. There we go. We have plenty coming out the back. And then I still got to get like a red light for in there too. Got to remember. I want to put a. I don't know if I go with. I think the pulsing lights I have in red are flickering are 3mm, so I'll probably put 2 there. So, I'm adding some of the photo etch pieces on. I got these. I don't know if you're going to be able to see them. But there's 2 little squares that go there. And then there's these little pieces that ride right underneath the shuttle base. So I got those in. There, you might be able to see them a little better. So we got those in on this. And that's all that goes on here except for the... Where are they? Somewhere there's shuttle bay doors. There they are. There's one and there's another one somewhere. There's the big one for the back. So I figured I'd get some of these guys on. What I really want to show you is there's pieces, all these here, that go on the nacelles. But the nacelle looks like it has, the detail they did, they just did a little indent, but it's got a little butt end here that we got to kind of file away to make that fit. So that's what I did here. I took my Dremel and got it a little bit down, and then I just took a file and filed that a little smoother so we can get this little piece of detail on and see if it'll actually fit a little better. Get you a better camera angle here. Let's see if we can get that to go in there a little better now. The way it works is the point angle goes like, go off of that there. And then I figure I'd get this first piece down and then build the rest of the photo etch up off of it. Let's see if this will work now. Do a little dry fit. Yeah, that's better. Because now we can make it flush on that end. Or no, this is the top piece. So we put that piece first. Then that goes on top, and then we put 2 rings on in those holes. It already has an upraise, but they want it a little deeper. So then you have to, which is going to be fun, glue 2 of those rings together and then put it on top of another ring. I should be doing this on. I need to get a piece of tile. cut photo etch on. Just a nice, if you have a little, even a small one, but you know, one like yay big that you can have a hard surface to cut the photo etch on, because otherwise sometimes you start bending them when you're trying to cut through. Sharp knife helps as well. All right, so we can glue this on. I like to put a little dab of super glue on some tape. I just tape to the desk, and that can act as your little thing that you can dip your toothpick in. And this way you don't get too much glue. And the tweezers pick this up. And I cut that pretty good so I don't have to really file any ends. Let's see if we can get that to drop in here. Yep. And line it up. I might use my magnifying glass here to make sure we are setting. Nope, we're kind of up. There we go. Hopefully I got enough in there. And that gives it that detail. And then that's what shows on the outside, I believe. On the, yeah. So that'll be on the outside, I think, is, at least that's what I'm going to do in mine. I'm not 100% sure, because the only way to really track how those go is to know what number this bottom is, and then it does tell you which, you know, each of these bottom parts had a number. But I would think those would be on the outside. I don't know what they really are. They look like there's some type of a hatch, like an access hatch or something, but I'm going to keep mine on the outside because it doesn't really matter which way you put, which one you put on, you know, if you put it here or here. I think that detail would look better on the outside. All I did, we can do this one really quick. As I just took my Dremel and got rid of this. There's a little lip here, because they just have it as an indent, and you still have an edge here. So we just gonna kind of, just so it's easier. It's not much, and then it just helps your file guide in there better. Get a smoother. Come on, wires. You're in the view. And then I just come in here and finish it off with a file. Really that simple. That really worked really nice. We don't want to lose that piece. I could probably actually pop that piece on really quick while I have some wet glue. I'll just flick it there. This glue is still, yep. Put a dab there. A healthy dab there. I mean, you could build them together. If I would build it together, I would actually take the two little rings and glue them down on here, then cut that piece off, and then glue it onto that piece that we just did. But I think it's easier for these little pieces because it's hard to hold one and put the other. You know, at least now it's, you know, the bottom one's glued. Now I can just focus on the next layer and then the next layer. Now when I do these parts here, which are these guys, we got this part, then this gets glued on top, then this gets glued down, and then that gets glued on top of that. We'll probably do this, you know, this about the same thing. I'll probably cut these out and then glue them on while they're on the photo etch, then cut these out and then glue those parts on and then glue it down because we got to line up the light into that little hole. But doing this thing this way works better for this type of thing. Alright, now that we have that one, we can cut. Where is it? There it is. Let's see if I can do it. Sometimes I can get it on this little, yeah. And what I can use that to hold it. If they're in the right spot on here, I can use this block for my bender. And the nice thing is you can use that as a clamp instead of where you fold up. And this allows you to get a better cut because it's not squishing. There we go. Yeah, those are better cuts. See a little bit of tab on the point here. So I can just hold and there it goes. Cut away. So that cut pretty clean. Yeah, and I think I'm going to do exactly what I did on that one. I don't even know if I have to put those two little circles on there. That gives you a pretty good detail. Yeah, I might not even mess with the little rings, which would be almost a pain in the neck to get on there. I'll try one. One would help it make that ring a little more prevalent. Where are we at? Alright, there it is. Put you this way. One thing I'm finding learning that instead of putting your super glue down and putting a cap right on, sometimes if you let it sit down, the little bit of glue that gets built, that kind of still there in the top will filter its way back down, and then you don't get all that glue clumps. That's definitely helping to keep the bottles cleaner. Cat hair. There we go. Yeah, no, it's all lining up really nice. So then if we get once we get all this on, I can get that one just like that. There we go. Then we can get these glued on. So we can get the wires down into these trenches and start finalizing how everything's going to connect in there. Very nice. And there's that one. Well, here's their just dry fitted together. I did a couple things that I'll show you off camera. We got the photo etch back here on the nacelles, and I got the little hole nice and lined up with the I can't get to it with the flashers, so that's going to be good. I'll probably have to do a little bit of light blocking around the edge here so we don't get a blast through, because the do I have a nacelle that I can show you? Or the others? Because these are so much larger than the little photo etch. Pinholes, which I wasn't sure what size these were when I put those plastic pieces in, but that's okay because it fits right over them perfectly. So they'll be a little smaller on top and a little larger on the bottom. What else did we do? Oh, the nacelles are glued on. This is just sat on there for temporary. I got the impulse engines in on the neck here. I used two 3mm reds, and I'm running them in a series. So here's our positive, and then it comes out the negative to this positive. So that'll work perfect. Super glued them down, and then I reinforced it with some clear 5-minute epoxy. So they're in there. Oh, they're nice and strong now. So we can actually start wiring these up. I think to light block it so we don't have red windows back here, I'm just going to use a piece of tape. I mean, I can hit it. I can hit it with some tulip too. Now, seeing how this is looking, I might just go ahead and do the tulip. I think that'll give me the best results without dealing with tape trying to stick and stay. Because tape that staging tape, once it sticks, it's almost actually hard to get up. But just in case, we don't have to worry about that wanting to peel, and then we got these edges here that have to deal with that. So I think we'll just do some black tulip and just go right over those spots. And then later on we got the clear piece and then a photo etch piece that goes over top of that to give it kind of a grill effect. Yeah, we're ready to get that all on, but I didn't want to glue this wire, now I'll just run the wires off of here. I'll just tag it off of there, I think would be the easiest way, just have the wires come up and tack onto this and steal power from there. But what I want to do is, before I glue this onto there, I want to set this saucer section here. Slide you. Oh, it came loose. But we got to get wires up into the saucer, so I want to set this like this and drill that hole through together while it's together. They're coming out through there. I guess I can still do that. Yeah, because this is the top area. You could actually almost just drill right through there. You don't even have to drill into the bottom. But I think it'll be easier if I just do like Gary said and just come up right through here. That way all my wires from down here can come up. We'll probably pop it up and over and then come out one of these tops. So we'll drill that hole first. It doesn't have to be big because the only wires that are going to come up here or going through will be a positive, negative for current, for the permanent power. And then we'll have wires for the flashers, for the flasher that's on the underside here, for that flasher, and those flashers here. And then we will send that should be it. brown and a blue from the board to the flashers down here. A main power on to send permit, continuous power up here. And that's really it. So it really doesn't have to be that big. And of course we got to drill all this out. I started trying some stuff. I'm not really liking those, but I got a better bit now, so we'll get to that soon. Now, what else did we do here? I guess we can unhook this so I can show you more stuff here. This can actually come off. I taped it down. Let's do this. Nothing, I don't believe, too new in here. Just started tying, this is how this is going to connect. So I tied the negatives for the torpedoes to that point. The positives are just sitting free. I got to get a resistor on this one. And the other one's just taped up here so it doesn't, and I'll loop them together and so they're not spiraling all over the place. But everything's pretty much set up and done on this upper half, except for just feeding those two torpedo tubes with power. But they're going to get power from a switch, so I'm going to run a yellow. I'm already running wires up through and I did put that, I don't know what you would call it, this kind of threaded stud. What it's normally used for is like wood, and you can just drill a hole for that size and boom, and then you have something to screw stuff in. But it works great for the K&S 1/4 inch brass, and you can actually just epoxy them in there. Like if I want them the ship to sit at weird angles, you can just epoxy them in the rod in there, or you can thread it. You get a tap set and then thread it, and then they can thread into there. However you'd like to do it, but I already got that epoxied in there for the rod, and so that way I can start running its power lines up. So I got the positive and negative measured out how high I'm going to have the ship. It gave me plenty of wire, but I got to do the same thing with a yellow, and the yellow will come up and attach to these two reds for the torpedoes. That way I can have the torpedoes on a switch and they're not constantly flashing when you don't really need them to be, looking like marker lights, So yeah, and this is going to be the power junctions here, and then we'll send another red up into the saucer, red and black up to the saucer. Still got to attach this flasher and these small SMD wires all together, and then run that up through the neck before we close this up. And also get the deflector dish in here, and we got to build a lighting system for the deflector dish. Most of the deflector dish is probably going to get a lot of, I probably wouldn't even have to put a light here because it's getting a lot of light forced out that way. But I want a little more of a sourcey light in the center. So I'm not sure yet if I want to just do a 5mm bulb right in the center here, and the rest of it can get the, ambient blowout light that's going on. Most of it that's only going to glow blue is this back area here. And we'll just let the aura come around this shield. Once that's in there, some hopefully will leak around the edges, and then hopefully this will glow a little bit blue. But like I said, I'm still not sure if I just put a so what I'm thinking is spraying this whole back transparent blue. Then eventually this will get that copper, this ribbed area, but this center will leave clear in a sense, but show the blue. Once this is down, you won't see all that. This piece I'm just going to leave clear, because it should pull, hopefully, if everything works as I'm hoping, it should pull the blue light through it. And that way when it's off, it looks off. I like that look instead of it looking like a toy when it's turned off. Like, that's why I like these are clear when it's off. These will be a copper, so. But if you can, you know, with things like this, like the Bassard collectors and stuff like that, if you can get them to be clear and do colored lights and stuff like that, it's so much nicer, because now it looks like a real ship that's off, and then when you turn it on, now it shows that color. So, and these fiber optics are working great. I mushroomed the ends over and then hit it with transparent red and transparent green. Probably should keep these up above those fiber optics, because then they'll always keep pushing them down. And I put a little putty down here already to cover up that. They're glowing great here. And the nacelles are glued down. And I epoxied the wires into the trench. It's a clear epoxy, so that's why you see it. And so I can actually start puttying these and get the sand in. But yeah, it worked great. They're flush and perfect. But that's okay, because we can kind of make a little ridge here, because that's what's supposed to be. So that's why I kind of dug this trench in where there is a raised part on before I chopped it all apart. So we're ready to putty all that up. So really it's getting down to, in here is getting a switch leg up for the torpedoes, connecting the flashers all together. So we'll tie these together and then run one to here and this one here up to the top. And then, like I said, figure out how I want this guy to be in here, because this has got to get in here as well before we I think that, yeah, the bottom part sits like that, yeah, kind of leans forward. Yeah, it sits right there. But I'm wondering if I just stick one LED. I'd love to do blue, but we'll have problems with these windows getting blue spill on either side here. So I think the best thing to do is just do a white bulb, maybe a 5mm here, and make it real sourcey in the center. Or I can use like or I'm thinking maybe here I already have one made up, so I could just probably actually use this one. This is a high density, just one segment, which gives you 3 LEDs. And I could always lay that across there, center to one bulb right in the center here. And then the other 2 will be on the outsides. Let's see if we can see it through this way. Yeah. The center one would glow that center part really good, and then the outer ones can glow this outer edge. So that might be the way to go. How I would attach it to this, I don't know. I mean, I could always have, once this is like that, it has a severe angle to it, like that, I could just make a thing that holds it right there. Scratch build a little piece there coming up, and just hold that like that, just like on a little flat piece of styrene, kind of like the top. I think that would be the quickest and easiest, and I can use this one because it's already wired. And yeah, where can I rob? I can rob power anywhere. Or I could bring it right up to the main power bundle. Either or. I think it'd be easier to solder it down to one of these points. I'll probably just solder it right to that point. Well, you got plenty here, so I can go wherever I need to go. But yeah, I'll find a point on some LED tape to grab it from. Because they're tiny little wires to be bundling with these thicker wires. It's just a pain. So that's what we'll do. What else? I think that's all as far as I got right now. Gonna have to do a little bit of light blocking. I'll just hit some probably some tulip in here, or even just some black paint, because I'm getting a little glowing even here where these pieces glued together. I think really I just got to put black paint in here, because probably what's happening is the glue is clear, so it's acting like a liquid fiber optic and pulling the light down in where we sanded the paint away so these would glue together. And then we do have to hit in these gaps here on, if I can spin it, on both sides. This one has a good spot. Not sure exactly why, because it's tight there and there, so, but there's a pretty good gap there. But yeah, that's where we're at.